Okay, now it's time for a Bachman book? But wait, didn't he die? When did that ever stop anyone? Here are 19 reasons to read Blaze. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I'm taking you through the works of Stephen King in chronological order and giving you 19 reasons to read all of his books, and throwing in a few specials every now and then as well, including, for example, my ultimate guide to the Dark Tower. Do click around the rest of this channel, see what's there, and if you like it, hit subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. So we've now reached 2007, a year when King dropped something quite unexpected. Tractor. No, he didn't drop a tractor. He dropped a Bachman book called Blaze. So in this video, I'm going to give you 19 reasons to dip into this previously unpublished book from King's dark half, and I will cluster any spoilers at the end and give you warning before they arrive. So if you've not read this one yet and you want to bail before then, you can do so. Alright, let's do it. So as I've mentioned, this one was published under the Richard Bachman pseudonym, making it the 7th and, at time of recording this video, final Bachman book. Now those Bachman books are usually distinguished by their grittiness, some kind of mobster gangster crime, and possibly even some sort of dystopian future as well. And Blaze ticks a few of those boxes, but also definitely has Stephen King's heart in there as well. Just as with The Regulators from 11 years before this, King claims that this one was a lost Bachman book that got found in the attic. What a joker. In fact, Blaze is actually a really old book. He wrote it before Carrie was even published, and he actually offered it to his publishers as a potential second novel of his career. Now obviously those publishers went with Salem's Lot instead, and Blaze got relegated to a drawer and something of a trunk novel for quite a few years. Now for something that's supposed to be a lost Bachman book, it's pretty funny how many times this has been referenced. This book gets referenced explicitly in the afterword to Different Seasons in 1982, for example, where King tells the story about offering it as his second book. He even points out in that afterword that some of the pages of the manuscript for Blaze were written, typed out on the back of milk bills. This really is a relic from the time before Stephen King became Stephen King. So what's Blaze about? Well, I'll let King himself tell you from that afterword in Different Seasons. He says, Blaze is a melodrama about a huge, almost retarded criminal who kidnaps a baby, planning to ransom it back to the child's rich parents, and then falls in love with the child instead. And he also notes it is a literary imitation of a sort of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. Now as you've just heard, King does admit that this story is a lot like John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, but that's fine. Of Mice and Men is a terrific book, and who wouldn't want to read King's own take on that? I certainly do. When King finally decided he was ready to unleash this on the world, he had quite a lot of work to do with it before it was ready. He ended up rewriting the first 100 pages and had to update a ton of references because they were all rooted in about 1973 and just didn't land anymore. One thing I found particularly wild about this was when he announced on his website that he was going to put this one out there, a statement added the little line that no publishing deal had been agreed at this point, but that King was fairly confident one would come. I mean, yeah, people are going to publish a Stephen King book, definitely. So why is this one a Bachman book then? Well, King has said that basically it's a Bachman book because it was written at the same time as most of the other Bachman books. That original quartet of Rage, The Long Walk, The Running Man and Roadwork were all written about the same time as this, and he just felt like it fitted in with them. So it's a Bachman book. So if you're wondering where Blaze comes from, you'd be right, because I haven't mentioned it yet. It's the nickname of Clayton Blaisdell Jr., or Blaze for short, the main character, the big guy who Stephen King mentions in the afterword to Different Seasons. He's the labour to the brains of the operation that is his partner in crime, George Thomas Rackley. Now the only problem is, and it's not a spoiler to say this because it's on the blurb on the back of the book, George is dead. But, and here's something that King didn't mention in that afterword to Different Seasons, George lives on in Blaze's head. Is he a ghost? Is he Blaze's overactive imagination? A bit of both, really. So another cool reason to explore Blaze is what you'll find at the end of this book, which is a short story called Memory, which actually was the seed that grew into the novel Duma Key, which we'll be covering next time. Okay, time for a few spoilery reasons. So if you've not read Blaze yet and you want to keep some of it as a surprise, or you don't want to know too much, now's your time to dip out. Okay, so this is a crime story and a ghost story at the same time. Now that could be clunky, but for me, I think the way that Blaze has his interactions with his dead friend is really well done and keeps the story driving forwards. I also really enjoy all of the scenes with Blaze and the kidnapped baby Joe. As we already know from King's Afterword in different seasons, Blaze kind of falls for this baby, and those scenes are really sweet. He is really just a sweet little kidnapping criminal, isn't he? So when it comes to possible links to other King works, there's a few that I picked out as I was reading this. Some of the names were quite familiar. There was a Merrill, a Hanscom, and a Clutterbuck. We also have a reference to some toddlers flicking around a St. Bernard. A dog gets killed, obviously. And there's also the use of the word bool, which we had much more of in Lisi's story, which I covered last time. Oh, and another one, slightly more speculative, but I'm going to throw it in there. At one point, Blaze acquires a wallet with the initials RKF on there. Randall Flagg, maybe? So something that struck me with Blaze is that even though it's something of a throwaway Bachman book, there are moments in it where the writing is just absolutely spectacular. Like this line, for example, that I particularly love. And she smiled back. Blaze folded that smile, put it away, and kept it for years. But then there's also lines where Blaze is told to stick your pecker in here when he's losing his virginity. So, swings and roundabouts. So there we go, 19 reasons to read Blaze, the 7th Bachman book. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. And if you enjoyed that video and want more, then stick around. There's loads more on this channel, and hit subscribe as well so you don't miss any in the future. If you want to come and chat Bachman books, Blaze, or King in general on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson, always happy to talk in my DMs. Next time, we're heading to Florida to tackle one of King's absolute very best books. Simple.